Another thing that struck me that you mentioned was that in that moment you only had skating, like you in your agenda it was only skating, and in your dreams it was only skating. It's a very atypical situation you're in. Say like you don't get into your first choice college, you could get into another one, or you can transfer later. There's usually plan B or plan B, but here you really didn't. The plan A was going to the Olympics, and that was it. And because you had fully dedicated your life to this sport, plan A was going to the Olympics, and I can just see that you might have felt that that was the only way to be successful or be happy. And when plan A didn't happen for you, it must have felt that, it was the end of the world. And it's just so hard to have only one thing that brings you self-esteem, particularly when you're at a young age where you may not have the perspective of the world. I again feel that adults surrounding young athletes have the responsibility to put every success and failure into a context and teach them that there are actually so many ways of being happy. That's such a common problem for somebody dedicating their entire life to one thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because especially the part about how it feels like the end of the world, because it genuinely does when you don't achieve that goal. But at the same time, I mean, it's not just a goal and a dream that you're happy if you achieve. It's almost like a necessity to continue on, especially because if you don't make it past that hurdle, that's like the end of the season.
Yes.
And going into the 2018 Olympics, I got to the point where making it to the Olympics wasn't even a choice or something I just wanted. It was like, if I didn't make it, it was genuinely going to be the end of the world for me, especially because I hadn't qualified in 2014. And when I qualified, it was kind of like I expected it. And so, I mean, I was like, okay, great, thanks. And then I kind of moved on from it so quickly. But when I think about it now, it's like, okay, like, this caliber of skating is something that I was in for a really long time. And so it got to the point where I expected myself to be the best, even though, if I were to take myself out of those shoes, what I was doing was incredible, like to qualify for the Olympic Games when there is only 3 slots for the entire country.
Yes.
Yeah, to be able to accomplish that was something else. But in that moment, it was kind of like, okay, this is just another check mark on the checklist, and now I have to move on to even greater things because that's what is expected from me.
So interesting. Oh my goodness. And I'm also sorry that, when a fan like me saw that you got on the 2018 Olympic team, it was such a celebratory moment. It's like amazing, like in a moment of redemption, and amazing that she comes back with this beautiful program and she's making it to the Olympics, and such an exciting moment as a fan. But for you, you weren't able to kind of experience that amazing celebratory moment in the same way that maybe spectators were experiencing it. And I just feel sorry that you couldn't, because of the mental state that you were in. You know, in those years, from 2014 to 2018, one of the things that I was excited for as a spectator for your career was that you gained this superpower element to triple axel. What was that like, to, again, being in the more senior part of your career and kind of pushing yourself to get something special?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was fun, and it made me giddy and excited, and so it did get my serotonin levels going. Even though when I would get to competition, I would panic about it because I just didn't have experience with the triple axel the way that I did with my other jumps. I mean, I learned my triples by the time I was 13, and so that was over a decade where I had of training under my belt. And I think that I would panic about it occasionally, but little by little, I started to get the courage to put it in, and it was always about challenging myself. And that was why, that's why I loved competing, was that like, you just never knew how things were going to turn out. And so, yeah, it was hard when I didn't deliver, but at the same time, it was like exciting to have that prospect of possibly landing the triple axel in competition.
You became the first American woman to land the triple axel at the Olympics. That's yours, and it would never be taken away from you. That's your title, and you won the team bronze medal. How did you feel after jumping that triple axel and landing it cleanly in that team event at the Pyeongchang Olympics?
Before I got out there, I was crying backstage. It was like, I wanted to be at this moment so badly, but now that I'm here, I just don't know how to handle it, I don't think I'd ever felt my heart beating that way, and it was beating so loudly, and my brain was just going 1,000 miles a minute. And I remember when my name was called, just like being like, oh God, like I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And even when that music started, it was like full on panic in my mind, just like neurons firing a million miles per second. And I think I actually tripped going into the triple axel. And it was when I tripped that I kind of got mad at myself, because I was succumbing to my own self. And I remember being like, I didn't come all the way to the Olympics to take myself out of the game before I even start. And so in that moment, somehow there was this mental switch that I just clicked on, it felt like, and kind of just like calming all of my entire brain and feeling like it shut off almost, and letting my muscles take over. And I remember when I landed that triple axel being like, what? Like, that was the best one I've ever landed.
It was beautiful.
And like, just I heard and felt and saw everybody like losing their mind. And afterwards, it was like I had put so much of myself on the line, because I knew that my performance in the team event meant a lot to our team and to myself. And so putting all of that on the line and being able to deliver was just like, it just felt like fireworks were going off. And, afterwards too, it was such a high that it was hard to know that I had to keep training and to stay ready for my own individual event.
Even so, I think what most American viewers remember is that triple axel and that amazing free performance of the team event. And I think most people would kind of categorize your Olympic experience as a successful story. It was a story about redemption. It was a story about the triple axel, the first time ever as an American woman, and the team bronze medal. And all of that was such a celebratory, successful, amazing moment. You deserve that moment. Like, yes, the individual event is coming up, and that might be more important for skaters, but you performed a clean long program and a spectacularly clean triple axel at the Olympics. And that's a fact. Nobody can take that away from you. Like, people who didn't even know you were so proud of you and were so happy about the triple axel. Yeah.
Thank you.